Hello everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of Artmaster Vision. Tonight I'm going to be painting this Victrix plastic Grenadier of the Imperial Guard, French Napoleonic. I do have to say I think it's Victrix's best box set. The quality is quite a bit nicer than their other box sets, I think. This actual figure, I believe the arms on the marching pose are actually already moulded onto the body, so you don't have to stick those on, unlike the other sets. Although, for example, the firing or advancing poses, you still have to stick the arms on yourself. So that's kind of nice, not having to stick the arms on. I guess that saves a bit of time when prepping them up. Also, you don't have to stick the scabbard on, for instance. That can be quite fiddly on their other French figures. Overall, yeah, a very nice figure. So I'm going to start with undercoating the blue, as that's the largest area. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Americana blue. It's called Deep Midnight Blue. I get these paints from eBay mostly, but if you can't find them on eBay, there are websites that take PayPal. I think Calico Crafts is one of them. So basically, you want to squeeze some of this out and add quite a bit of black with it, almost a 50-50 mix, because you want it to be really quite dark enough so that Deep Midnight Blue on its own can act as the first highlight. It's always good to add some water when you're mixing. It will help combine the two colours, making it a bit smoother. Also, you don't want your paint thick anyway, so as you can see, this is quite dark, almost black, but you can definitely see it's still blue. I'm going to take this opportunity to say hello to the people viewing on YouTube. As you may have heard, I've started uploading the Ustream recordings to YouTube. I'm hoping to put about 1 or 2 every week onto YouTube. Basically, it's so I can reach a wider audience, and also some people have had trouble viewing the visions on Ustream. But I will still obviously be doing the Ustream videos, because people can comment live as I do those, which is one of the main reasons for doing them via streaming rather than recording these off the internet on a higher quality camera. Which I could do. I've already got a couple of tutorials on YouTube using a much higher quality video using a camera that I have, but unfortunately I don't think I'm able to stream in that style. Great thing about this box set as well is that because they're all in the great coats, they are very quick to paint. So if you're looking for an easy, quick unit to do that looks quite nice, then this is definitely a good box set to go for. You know, especially if you're gonna paint up a unit to put on eBay or something, or you know, for sale on your own website. this is just a nice quick way of getting good quick results on some nice figures. Also, a quick thanks goes out to Bob Ullman, who donated this figure to me. We had a little discussion via email, and he requested that I did a vision on this particular figure, and he sent one in to me, so special thanks to him. And also to anyone else who wants to send in a figure for the visions. Feel free to email me, and we can sort something out then. So if there's anything in particular that you want to see in the future, you can always send me the figure, and that'll probably encourage me a bit more to choose certain figures, because like I said in the past, I normally just pick a random figure I've got lying around. Okay, so now I'm going to undercoat the flesh, and I'm using Shadow's flesh from the Vallejo Panzer Aces range. From here on out, most of the colours I will be using will be Vallejo colours, either from the model colour range or the Panzer Aces range. I tend not to use any from the game colour range because I feel that they're more suited to fantasy figures, because the colours are a bit more bright and vibrant, and my style of painting is generally a bit more, well, not so much gritty and realistic, but definitely a bit darker in tone. Some people like their figures, even their historical figures, to be fairly vibrant and bright, but my particular style isn't always that bright. Also, a nice thing about these figures is the faces, because they've got lovely big moustaches and sideburns. Sometimes it's easier to paint a face with a large moustache on, because it kind of breaks it up, and you don't have to worry about painting too much of a perfect face, because most of it's taken up by hair anyway. So alright, so now moving on, I'm going to undercoat the backpack using Vallejo Panzer Aces Splinter Blotches 2. You may have noticed we posted on the Steve Dean forum some of our new range of 15mm American Civil War, sculpted by Martin Baker, painted by us, and we've got our own website for those figures, amsminiatures.co.uk. With a nice gallery on there and a shop as well to buy the figures from. Sold unpainted, of course. I'm going to undercoat the wood now using German Camo Black Brown. This is quite a nice dark colour for the wood to start off with. Our range of 15mm American Civil War is a fairly comprehensive range. We're just putting the final touches to it. The whole range isn't available as I'm recording this, but hopefully soon the entire range will be up. We'll be having Union and Confederate, so both sides, so you can complete entire armies and have games with both armies. So if you're worried about the figures not matching in with your particular favourite make, we've pretty much got all areas covered, so you don't necessarily have to go and mix all different manufacturers together. We do have dismounted cavalry as well as mounted cavalry. I can't quite remember whether they're available on the website at the moment. Just check it out, amsminiatures.co.uk, but if they're not available just yet, they will be very soon. So that's good. We've got cavalry, infantry, we've got zouaves, we've got mounted generals, we've got horse holders, limber teams, artillery. We will be adding some diorama type figures as well. So yeah, so just keep an eye on the Steve Dean website for updates, and our websites, Artmaster Studio and AMS Miniatures. Also our blogs as well, which you can get to via our websites. So now I'm going to use the black red. This is going to be the undercoat for the red on the figure, so that would be the shoulder pads and this top of the bearskin, where the grenade will be white on top of there. Also the end of the sword knot. Alright, so he's nearly fully undercoated. I'm just gonna take some silver. This is Games Workshop's bolt gun metal, a classic silver colour that I like to use. This is going to be for the gunmetal and for the cup. That's something that's nice about these Victrix colours figures, is that they tend to have little things hanging from the backpacks that just enhances that sort of campaign feel. So sometimes you have little bags hanging off the back, or small tin cups, etc. Okay, so might as well undercoat the brass areas as well, and then we can start highlighting. So the bearskin hat has a nice copper plate on the front, so we're going to do this in brass and then give it a nice wash so it's quite dark, and then give it a little bit of a highlight afterwards. One thing I'm not quite sure about these figures is I'm not sure if they've got the earrings in the ears. It's quite difficult to tell whether they're sculpted on or not. I like the front rank Grenadiers that have those. I think I'm just going to put a little bit of gold there just to symbolise that. Okay, so now we're gonna we'll quickly undercoat the water bottle and then we'll start highlighting. So I'm going to use a colour called dark rust. This is sort of a red brown. Panzer Aces again. And also, whilst we're doing it, we'll do the hair with dark grey before we forget. Okay, right, so now I'm going to start highlighting. I'm going to use probably Deep Midnight Blue on its own for the first highlight of the blue. And if it's not quite bright enough, I'll add some light grey into it, but it should be fine. Yeah, that's quite nice. As you can probably tell already, these are very quick to paint. Even though I'm chatting away, describing things, the figure's coming along quite quickly. but if you're in the zone, listening to music, just painting them at a good speed, you'll probably be nearly finished it by now. It took me about 2 days to paint the whole box. So we got the flesh to highlight now using flesh base. This is Panzer Ace's flesh. Okay, I'm going to switch to a slightly smaller brush now. Okay, so now I'm going to highlight the backpack using beige brown. Let me know if you'd like to see a vision on our 50mm ACW. The faces on them are particularly well done, I think, and they're quite nice. I think they show up well on the camera for the vision because they are quite characterful faces. You've probably seen from the pictures. Some people have actually thought that they were 25mm figures because I think the detail on them is like really nice. Some 15mm you can just tell that they're 15mm, but I think Martin's done a particularly good job. Alright, so now he's come along quite nicely. We'll highlight the red. I'm going to use red for that. Okay, now I'm going to highlight the wood. I'm going to use flat brown. And I'll highlight the water bottle using leather belt. This is a nice Panzer Aces colour. And for the strap on the water bottle, I'm going to use a nice earthy brown colour called burnt umber. Alright, so now we'll do the second highlight on the blue, and basically all I'm going to do is add some light grey into the blue that we've got here already. Now you don't need to add much, just a very small amount, because it does lighten up fairly quickly, as you can see. That looks about right to me. And obviously you don't want it to be too bright, because a French blue is quite a deep dark blue. And we're going to concentrate mainly on the tops of the arms there, so it gets darker towards underneath the arm where the shadow is. Now you can go one step further and add some extra highlights just to the very crests of the folds in the cloth, so the very highest points. And just sort of add quite a light blue. And that will help draw the eye to the detail in the folds, but don't go too overboard when you're doing that. It's, less is more when you're doing extreme highlighting. Makes it sound like an extreme sport, extreme highlighting. It's quite a bit less dangerous than skateboarding though. Okay, so now we're going to do the second highlight to the flesh, and we're going to use flat flesh for this. So we're nearly finished, and we've actually only been going for half an hour. Unfortunately, because this figure was donated by someone, I don't have another one to paint. Otherwise, I probably would think about doing an officer or something. Alright, so now we're going to highlight the wood again using mahogany brown. So we went flat brown followed by mahogany brown. And we'll put another highlight to the red using red, a slightly lighter version this time. And the second highlight on the backpack using brown sand. I quite like backpacks to be a fairly bright colour. I don't like backpacks that are too dark. Okay, so we use the first highlight that we used on the backpack, we're going to use for the second highlight on the water bottle. That was beige brown. And for the strap, we used burnt umber to undercoat, but we'll probably use English uniform for the highlight. I suppose we should undercoat the straps using light grey. And a little tassel up here as well. And the grenade on the hat. Yeah, my finished brushes, like this one here, they're only that thin because they've been worn down, really. They probably used to be closer to that size, but the more I use them, the more they get worn down. So, but they do come in handy when they get that thin, especially for eyes. Okay, so we'll just highlight some of the black. Actually, before we do that, we'll wash over the gold with Devlin mud. And we're going to use black grey for the first highlight on the black. So now we'll highlight the hair. We'll use London Grey for the first highlight. And we'll highlight the straps with white. I normally use off-white, but I'm actually running low on that, so just going to use white today. White can sometimes be just a little bit too bright, a little bit too clean looking. Okay, so I'm going to add some London Grey to the black grey for the second highlight on the black. This dries quite a bit darker than what you put it on, so it might look like it's far too contrasty, but it will dry a bit more subtle. Now I'm going to highlight the silver using aluminium. This is a Model Air colour. Now I'm going to add another wash to the plate on the bear skin. Highlight the cup as well with a bit of silver there. Now I'll highlight the gold areas with gold and also put some buttons on. Now I'm just going to put some eyes in. Now the disappointing thing about these is I think the eyes are a bit more difficult to paint on them because they're quite deep set. I'm just going to touch those up with some flat brown. I like to use flat brown instead of the base coat of the flesh colour because it's slightly darker and it tends to go over the white a bit easier. Okay, so I think there we have the finished figure. One Victrix Imperial Guard Grenadier. Thanks again to Bob Ullman who donated this. And once again, if anyone else wants to donate a figure that they want to see me paint on the Vision, please feel free to email. As always, please check out our website, artmasterstudio.co.uk, also amsminiatures.co.uk for our new range of ACW 15mm. Check out our blog and the Steve Dean forum as well. Actually, one last little thing, I missed a little buckle here. There you go. Now he's finished. There we go. Alright, thanks again for watching, and good night.